You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. Once again, we are going to talk about Alana McLaughlin, the ex-Army Ranger Special Forces male that stepped into the ring last Friday night against a female in a transgender mixed martial arts bout. Now, we made several videos. People are coming out really starting to be critical of what happened the other night. Why? Because we've got something that former Good Morning Britain's host, Piers Morgan, has come out and slammed as woke ideology that is starting to trickle in and now is flooding in to the flat dangerous. And we talked about how dangerous it was to have somebody that was a male get into the ring with a female, okay? And, of course, this fighter has somehow justified his comeback, calling everybody that's against this transphobes, because that's what happens, all right? We're supposed to somehow feel bad that this guy is getting in a ring and somehow, some way, got an athletic commission. By the way, Florida Athletic Commission, you sanctioned this fight. You were a joke, okay? You were a joke. This is dangerous. You should have never sanctioned this fight, but you did. Well, he has come out and he has hammered what we saw the other night. I don't always agree on everything Piers has got to say, but I found this article interesting and wanted to share it because he is none too happy, much like the rest of us. It was the moment ideology met cold, hard reality. Alana McLaughlin, 38, the second transgender MMA fighter to compete in the sport, the other one being Fallon Fox, who Joe Rogan has been very critical of, used a powerful chokehold, a rear naked choke, to beat Celine Provost, 32. Now, talking about the female fighter was more skilled and experienced fighter during their bout on Friday night. McLaughlin only took up MMA earlier this year, whereas Provost has been doing it a decade. Well, this makes McLaughlin's case look even worse, okay? A much more technically sound fighter that he got into the ring with, but just couldn't compete with overwhelming physical strength of her opponent. She got bullied, let's be real. Provost's punches bounced off of McLaughlin like a baby lion's off its father. And when she was pinned to the ground, she couldn't move and quickly tapped out. None of which is entirely surprising given that McLaughlin spent 6 years serving as a U.S. Special Forces as a man. There's a striking topless photograph of her during her time in military service. In it, she closely resembles the stereotypical appearance of a male Special Forces operative with a full beard, mustache, very muscular arms, and torso. At this point, let me be clear, McLaughlin was a war hero, rising through the Army ranks to become Special Forces Medical Sergeant, who went to serve in Afghanistan in 2007 as part of an elite 12-man team. Look, all the respect in the world for that and what you did then, but I don't have to respect what you're doing now, okay? There, she helped save many lives. He treated IED casualties in a highly dangerous combat zone. I have huge respect for her military service, during which he was awarded 8 Distinguished Service Medals. Just as I also had huge empathy for anybody whose mother couldn't cope with her son, desired to be a woman, and has now disowned him. Okay, so his mother, I guess, has let him go in his life, and, this is a decision he chose to make, and, I don't know the specifics around that, and honestly, it has very little to do with him stepping into the ring with females now. Okay? Now, let's go down here. But regardless of him, military record, or personal struggles growing up, none of this justifies what happened on Friday night. I found the bout sickening to watch. It was obvious very quickly that McLaughlin was too strong, and equally obvious that his strength came from 33 years he spent as a biological man. As I've said before, the restrictive hormone treatment that sports authorities make transgender women do before they can compete does not reduce muscle density or power. This creates a bad enough unfairness in a non-contact sport like sprinting or weightlifting, but when it comes to combat sport like MMA, it creates a potentially deadly disparity. I once asked the UK government minister who supports trans women competing in women's sports if she would be okay if Floyd Mayweather announced he was transitioning, got into the ring to fight women born with female bodies. She refused to say it would be unfair because she was too terrified of upsetting the very vocal and aggressive trans activist lobby. That's how crazy this debate has got. At the time, I warned that something similar would inevitably happen and would present a lethal threat to women. It was promptly accused of being a transphobic scaremonger. But I'm neither. I've always supported trans rights to fairness and equality. Now, he goes on to talk about that him and Trump did get into it over transgender rights, etc., etc. If you're in any doubt about how unfair this all is, let me take you through a brief history of what happened when male athletes have transitioned to women and then competed against women born with female bodies. In 2017, sprinter Cece Telfer, we have covered her on this channel, was ranked 390th among males in the NC2A division athletes in the 400-meter hurdle. In 2018, Telfer transitioned. In 2019, Telfer was the NC2A Division II women's 400-meter champion. Now he talks about Laurel Hubbard. Failed to qualify for any men's international tournaments during 14 years of competing as a man. Then Hubbard transitioned, qualified for 11 tournaments, including the Tokyo Olympics. Australian handball player Hannah Mounsey scored 0 goals in 22 appearances for the Australian men's handball team. Transitioned, scored 23 goals in 6 appearances for the women. And he goes on to talk about another instance in cricket. We've already seen the same unfairness manifest itself with the first transgender MMA fighter, Fallon Fox, who served in the U.S. Navy, then transitioned, became an MMA fighter, and won all but one fight. In one of them, she fractured a woman's skull. I fear it is the worst is yet to come. The Guardian builds itself as a women-friendly feminist newspaper, yet its interview with Alana McLaughlin was unquestionably supportive despite the very serious danger trans women MMA fighters so obviously pose to women born in female bodies. Celine Provost could have been put down as so-called progressive feminists around the world welcomed and celebrated the event that could have caused it. As for McLaughlin, she has posted indignant Instagram messages hitting back at her critics with a seriously disingenuous assessment of the fight. That's where she goes on to kind of try to prop up the lady that she fought, who ultimately was, bullied down by this fighter. Let's be real. She added some hashtags below, including hashtag girls like us, but the truth is, McLaughlin is not a girl like the opponent she was fighting. She was born with a massive physical advantage of being in a male body. And the next girl with a female body that she fights might not come out. Okay, so he's coming out and he's showing he's talking about the very raw side of this. Okay, the ultimate price that one of these female fighters may end up having to pay if they step into a ring with somebody like Alana McLaughlin. Okay, and Piers is not wrong. I think that's the fear that a lot of us have. I don't like the competitive imbalance part of this one bit. It's unfair. It's not a fair fight. And now we're talking about literal combat sports. I mean, it's bad enough that it's things like sprinting. and all these things. You know, women are losing scholarships to universities now to men, okay? Plain and simple. But Piers is talking about the real horrible side of this, okay? The side that could take a really awful turn, okay? And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these UFC fighters speaking out. It's one of the reasons we're talking about it in videos, okay? It's just not fair, and it's dangerous. It is. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. Man, I see this as an ongoing theme. More fighters are going to come out and speak out against this. The UFC, those fighters, they're not going to stay quiet, okay? They're not. I'm waiting for somebody to challenge this person to a fight is what I really am waiting to have happen. One of the men. Yeah. Then let's see you fight. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.